Live from New York, it is the PLUStainment Show. Uh-oh. I'm Jane Ellen, and that's Matt Rappaport. No, the other way around.
That's right.
How are you, Jane?
I'm great now. How are
We're
you?
in the circle, the movie circle. Very good. This is our
Gonna be
first
special.
show. Special. Yeah, the PLUStainment Show. This is the show about entertainment and the Oscars. Nothing bigger than that. Biggest show of the year. The Oscars usually run really long. They run at least till midnight Eastern. They run pretty long, and I still saw people complaining about the length of the show, and I feel like they cut it as short as possible. There's no songs being performed. There's not many spots for. They didn't even show each clip from each movie. Usually they come out and talk about each movie. They didn't even do that. They got rid of that. They didn't even honor Oprah and James Earl Jones very properly. It was very like, guess what? We gave them some awards. Stand up. Okay, great. We're done. Move on. All right. It's only Oprah Winfrey and James Earl Jones.
It's almost like they chucked the Oscars to them from the stage.
Yeah,
like,
they're like, here, stand up, applaud. Yeah, I mean, like, they didn't really seem to care about it. And then the way they did the memoriam, too, I thought it was weird how they really, in memorial, they used to show clips that everybody is in, and all they did was pick random people that they thought were important to show a clip from, but everybody else just got the white screen. Even Whitney Houston just got a white screen. And I'm like, that's weird. I mean, do they not have time to show a clip that everybody is in? And, and there was no applause. Usually, which is weird, I guess, to some people when they applaud. Oh, yeah, I know who that is, yeah.
Well, I've been told that within memoriam they say, hold your applause to the end, because then it sounds like, oh, you died, you deserve more applause. So that's kind of, you know, they all died, so.
Right. They all died. They all did something important.
Yeah.
They were all,
even if you didn't know who they were.
Exactly. There are more actors you don't know, more people working in the movie industry you don't know that you do, and a lot of them make it happen. So that was weird. But so, you know, there was a lot of talk last year about how the show was awful. They tried to go younger with Anne Hathaway and James Franco, and we all thought, oh, this could work, because Anne Hathaway the year before did a singing number with Hugh Jackman, so they thought she was cute. But James Franco was basically, I don't know if he wasn't high, he was somewhere else the whole show.
That way.
He was acting high. And I'll tell you what was weird is I discovered a day or two later, the whole time he had his camera to do his Twitter page, and he was taking video of himself throughout the show. So he was like, hey guys on Twitter, what's going on? And he was doing that the whole show. So he's focused more on people watching him on, like, to post on his Twitter page than, like, the entire, like, audience and, like, billions of people watching. He's, like, tuning out. But, like, for his Twitters, he's like, hey, Twitters! You know?
You know what I heard? Angelina Jolie's leg did the exact same thing last night.
Oh.
Her leg was tweeting.
It was doing something to me.
Ah.
That was a nice, interesting dress. She's got to show some life. And, you know, it's like Tim Gunn, he's always like, oh, Angelina Jolie is so fabulous all the time. Or that was like an Italian Tim Gunn. Anyway, but, yeah, major wow factor. But is Angelina, I mean, Angelina is pretty, but I feel like it's dying. Like, I looked at it, I was like, yeah, I wasn't, like, blown away by it. I mean, the leg was, maybe that's why we were drawn to the leg, so we weren't looking above the leg. Maybe that is part of it. That's my theory. I don't know.
Well, there are certain ways to stand to be photographed well.
Right.
And when she did have it down, and she was showing the dress, and I know people are saying she was showing her leg, but if she hadn't have done that, she wouldn't have been showing the dress and the drape of the dress, and I understand why she was standing like that. However, when I saw them zoom in on her knee, and I think Angelina Jolie is incredibly beautiful, but I saw them zoom in on her knee, and I went, ooh, I wouldn't want them to zoom in on my knee like that.
Really?
But,
well, I thought it was fine. I mean, Angelina Jolie already has a reputation for being the most beautiful, or one of the most beautiful women in the entire world, so I'm not, no love lost for that. You know, and it's the women are the ones that usually have the, you know, men all look the same pretty much as far as their tuxedos go. For the
they either look great or they're all over the place.
Yeah, they're all.
You know, it's like, whoa! Did you not know you were going to the Oscars?
Yeah, and some people feel more comfortable out of the heels. I remember they talked to Glenn Close at the beginning, and they were saying to her, you know, oh, what was Rob? I think it was what's her name? Robin Roberts. What's the woman, the newscaster? Anyway, she's from Good Morning America. Robin Roberts was like, what was more of a transformation, you doing tonight or Albert Nobbs? And she's like, tonight, because the shoes are less comfortable. But I can't imagine being a woman having to go through. I've walked in heels before. It was a college phase, and it was not fun. So I don't know how you guys do it. And,
it's the weight distribution.
Yeah. It's like riding a bicycle, maybe. I don't know.
Well, you've got to learn to walk in them. You can't just put them on that first night for the Oscars and think you're going to not fall. And I'll be honest, because I wear heels a lot, it's a constant. You got to look everywhere you're going, and it is your biggest. Well, it's my biggest fear. Am I going to fall? Am I going to fall? Am I going to fall? I mean, maybe that's just me and my OCD. Am I going to fall? Am I going to fall? Am I going to fall? And if so, will it be a spectacular fall?
Well, if it's a spectacular fall, that's all that counts. You know, that's the way to do it. Spectacularly.
Or will it be a save?
So, okay, so we'll start with red carpet. I'm not into the fashion as much, but, you know, there was, you know, they make the hoopla about the red carpet and all these people that get there hours early to be there and cheer for people. And, you know, I don't know. The coolest
that's something
thing
I would never do.
Yeah. The coolest thing with the red carpet to me was...
Unless it was you. I would do that for you.
Oh, that's sweet of you. Would you? I would hopefully be able to get you in, but I think you get like one ticket. And so it would either be my wife, girlfriend, mother, one of those. I don't know. And I feel people get a bad rap for bringing their mother. Like, why would you bring your mother? Like, but like because it's her mom. Why not let her get to go to the Oscars too? She's not going to go to the Oscars again, right? So it makes sense. But what was cool about the red carpet before we get into fashion, Sacha Baron Cohen doing his whole like dictator thing. He was doing that's his new movie, and he was doing one of these stunts where he had Kim Jong-il wink wink in an urn, and he spilled it on Ryan Seacrest, and that was pretty funny. Ryan Seacrest
said he knew nothing about it.
Yeah, you don't believe that? I don't think he did. He just expected the unexpected with Sacha Baron Cohen.
Yeah, you kind of have to do that with him.
So, but yeah, he was obviously dressed in character. So who was the best dressed in your mind?
Of the women that I saw?
Yeah, the women.
Oh, I think it was. I really liked Ms. Cruz's dress, the color of her dress.
I'm not a big fan of Penelope, so...
Well, I just like the color of her dress and the fact that it was colored, because you can never go wrong wearing black. I mean, look at me. I got black.
Once you go black, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, black looks fantastic, and it's always formal, but that the color, it was just, you just knew no one else was going to be wearing that color. When you wear red, that's a huge color statement as well. But...
Uh-oh, I got a freeze for a second.
Like the color of the dress, most of the dress, yeah, I froze and I look like I just ate something unusual.
That's all right.
So a lot of the dresses were kind of the mermaid style, but I have to say, the dress that I thought that was stunning and certainly was talked about because she knows how to get talked about, Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, Jennifer Lopez and Cameron Diaz together when they were presenting, I was like, whoa, that's like... You know, they looked great. As a man or even a woman, I don't think there was a chance to look at their faces either. Like their breasts were front and center for that entire presentation. And Gwyneth Paltrow too, kind of, it was like a white thing. Like Gwyneth Paltrow had the white, three of them were like Charlie's Angels or in white or something.
Yes, they were all very virginal, weren't they?
Quite the opposite, but yeah.
Is that what you were thinking?
They were trying to present themselves like that, but give me a break.
All different, a wider shade of pale.
JLo and Cameron Diaz and Gwyneth Paltrow, I think, combined have been linked to almost everybody. I think the three of them have covered every actor or person that's ever been out there, I think, like from, I don't know, Justin Timberlake to Ben Affleck to, I don't know, lots of people. But...
was it about 10, 12 years ago that JLo wore that basically scarf that was allegedly a dress that was green
yeah, I remember
and was just kind of glued on her body?
Yeah, I remember
Well,
that.
that's what I thought of when I saw her dress, and this one was not glued nearly as well. And she has allegedly laughed it off, saying, "Oh," and her people have said it was just a shadow. It's like, it wasn't a shadow.
What did you guys think out there, Anthony and Maddie? What did you think about who the best looking female was? And you know, Natalie Portman, I think, was wearing red, and she looked pretty good, right? I think she was wearing red. Now that if I think back to it, it's hard to say.
You know, actually, I don't remember.
But
I don't remember because of the sea of white. That's why Penelope Cruz stood out to me, because she wasn't wearing black and she wasn't wearing white.
And the goatee was in. Speaking of guys, almost everyone had facial hair. That was the big thing this year.
I don't like Brad Pitt when he looks dirty.
Yeah, which means facial hair. And then even Tom Hanks had the goatee going on. Tim Clary, he was all like, "Oh, I guess it's pretty good that I have." Tim Clary has a mustache. He's an artist here. Christian Bale had the hair going on. Lots of hair going on.
Does that mean you're going to grow one now?
I can't. It looks terrible. It doesn't nothing. It's just dirt. Pretty much. In fact, this morning we were talking, that was like a day or whatever. It's gone now, but so fashion-wise, yeah. I mean, I guess people did all right. I think it's a little ridiculous stuff that E has to have, like, I think 20 hours of coverage, of red carpet coverage, and talk about fashion, and I guess that's to keep. I don't know if it's not even Melissa Joan Rivers. They've moved on to like 50 other networks.
Yes, they've switched around.
They've switched around because but speaking of them, plastic was a theme. I noticed that most people in the room were as statuesque as the awards. Lots of faces.
The women looked really, really tall. Tom Cruise looked different for the first time to me.
Yeah, and the weird thing to me about Tom Cruise is that Tom Cruise literally looked like he was, when he did the little, like, Mission Impossible thing with Billy Crystal, and he did a couple of those things, he looked puffed out, or when he was talking, his face was puffed out. But then when he presented the last award of the night, really, it looked like he was tan, and they put tons of makeup on him. So he looked different, like in both, right? Did you notice that the end of the night he looked different than he did on film?
Could be different makeup artists, different lighting. Less
plastic, yeah. I don't know. Maybe get more plastic.
Maybe the filler took effect. I don't know.
It was weird.
I noticed a lot of them looked different.
And a lot of people I didn't even think about that had plastic surgery, and I guess there's Botox and filler and all that. But Billy Crystal, I know he's 63, but it looked like he was puffy. I was like, is he puffy because of the Botox?
He could have been puffy. I mean, he almost looked puffy, like steroid puffy, like he'd been ill and puffy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like he ate a bad fish or something.
Yeah, I didn't feel that he looked puffy like plastic surgery puffy. He just looked older, retaining water or something puffy.
Ooh, ouch. Ooh.
I mean, but he still delivered for me. He still did what I expected him to do. I expected him to do a solid job, and he did.
Yeah, and I think that the biggest thing on Twitter and everything was, who is Billy Crystal? A lot of people, I don't know what the age bracket is, but I guess if you're 20
Are they 12
and younger,
years old? What?
Well, I mean, okay, so Billy Crystal last hosted about 8 years ago. So if you were like, I don't know, I guess if 12. You were 10 and younger, 12, then, maybe you didn't see it. But
and you don't know how to look up his career?
No, listen, I'm not defending what they said, but I get that Billy Crystal is not out there every year, and that most people, wouldn't know. Kids know who he is. But I hear what I think he was comfort food. My mom, quoting my mom, who I talked to about it, I wanted her quote, is like comfort food. It's nice to have him back, and you feel comfortable with him hosting the show. Mm-hmm. You're in good hands. You know what he's going to do. And he did his opening movie model sketch. He did his opening song and dance number. That's what you expect from Billy Crystal. I don't know what people were thinking. They expected fireballs, and I don't know. But we got what we expected. I do think he could have put a little bit more oomph into that opening number. I felt like he was maybe nervous. Or, here's the other thing I thought about. Last time he hosted, Jack Nicholson was always in the front row. He'd be like, hey, Jack! Hey, this person! All the old-timers like Pacino and Nicholson and Jack Lemmon and everybody else was always there. And now it's like, hey, Angelina
I don't
Jolie, and
quite know who you are, and I said,
yeah,
yeah.
well, or he knows who they are. That's why, like, Marty, like, in his opening number, he was happy to see Marty Scorsese. He's like, Marty, I can finally go up to you. Because when he did that little thing with Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill, I don't think that they were loving it. I think that Billy felt self-conscious about his jokes, about everything, because he wasn't getting the laugh, or he was getting the weird looks. And
I think doing the Oscars is a tough room.
Yeah, it is a tough room. It's crazy. Even at home, it's a little tough. And Billy Crystal, I think, was doing the best he could. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed him. And, I mean, who do you think would be, I mean, I think capable hands, a funny person. Chris Rock was funny last night.
Chris Rock was funny.
But they don't want him hosting. They want, the Oscars don't want someone that's too offensive. But then when they're not edgy or offensive, they're too boring. So there's, like, no in between. I thought Billy was in between. I thought he was just right.
We're available.
Yeah, we are available.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they're going to go Neil Patrick Harris. That guy's hosted the Emmys, the Tony, everything.
He's a good host.
But he's not. Maybe he's not big enough star though, is he? I don't know.
To do the Oscars, I mean, again, what were the global numbers on the Oscars? I don't know if NPH is. Well, I mean, he is very famous, but is he globally famous or just in the Americas?
I mean, he did Harold and Kumar, and that's got some, right? So that's gotta count for
something. Yeah.
Gotta count for something, and he plays the opposite of what he is. And he does that in his TV show too. But hey, Motivus Jones is watching. Justin Bieber. I thought that was funny. I
did too.
The Justin Bieber thing.
For me, the Billy Crystal opens. They take the time to deliver a solid pre-recorded open, because having to do just a monologue, this is so rough, and so many of them tank. I mean, when Letterman did it, I will never. Of course, I have not forgotten Oprah, Oprah,
yeah.
And yet I remember that everyone complained that he wasn't funny, and that was the height of it.
Maddie says you should do the Oscars. Yeah, we'll do the Oscars, Maddie, or Jane even. They offer it to us. Would you, if you were the host, would you be offensive at all? Would you take shots at people?
Am I up for an Oscar, or am I just hosting?
Oh, does that make the difference?
No.
I don't think it makes a difference.
Well, you see, the host usually doesn't write everything or any. It really just depends. What was it once? Something Ellen DeGeneres hosted before she came out, and she was in a dress, and she looked so uncomfortable.
She hosted the Oscars back in, like, 2007.
She hosted something, they put her in a dress, and she was just, you could feel her pain.
Yeah.
Would I be offensive if
well, should an Oscar host be? I mean, you watching out there, do you want to see your Oscar host be offensive? I mean, you want them to be funny, but
yeah, I want to be funny, but you can be funny without being mean. If, for instance, if somebody has a drug and alcohol problem, you don't have to be mean about it at the Oscar. You don't have to be mean about it.
I think Billy took like one cheap shot.
It's a legitimate problem.
He took like one cheap shot, and it was really quick. I forgot even who it was, but it was real quick, and it was like a throwaway.
Yeah.
But he does have his shtick. He does do the. People try to say Catskill-like, and I think that he did a good job, and I think that I think that he was putting a lot of pressure on himself because he didn't feel like his jokes were getting laughs, and I think for a comedian, when you're out there, you see the faces, you see, and he's used to like Jack Nicholson smiling at him and pointing at him and all that. None of that was going on. He's like, oh my God, this is not. You can't go home again, I guess. And so he didn't have that. His friends, that were out there to really enjoy what he was doing.
Yeah. I mean, I've been on stage and entertained a room before, and when you don't get the vibe back from the room and the energy back from the room, I mean, the flop sweat hits, and then people are going, you got to stay there. And they're going like stretch, and you just want to die, but you can't. You have to stay there. And so if he actually felt that way, but we don't know. I mean, he hasn't been able to call me because, as we know, my phone died, and I won't get it
he hasn't
tomorrow,
been able to call you. Hopefully, Robin Williams and Whoopi have gotten a hold of him and talked him out of off the edge. I know that, and then they do the Jimmy Kimmel thing afterwards, and I saw a little bit of it at the beginning.
Do you think Kimmel would do it? Or would he be too edgy? Or too young. Or...
No, Kimmel will want to make fun of people. And it's funny you mentioned the hosts that don't write. Yeah, you either have Anne Hathaway and James Franco that don't write anything, or you have Billy Crystal that's writing almost everything he does. And I heard they cut a lot of stuff, and who knows what they said. You know what, Billy, you can't do that. You have to hold back. You have to cut this. You know, we don't know any. So a lot of the what the host does is based on Brian Grazer and producers saying, "Oh, we want to cut that. We want to cut this," and you know, you just don't know.
And should the host be a stand-up comic or someone from the world of comedy or someone who simply can MC an event? Or someone who's an affable actor? I mean, didn't Bob Hope used to host them for years and years?
Yeah, but Bob Hope did stand-up.
I mean, back in the day. Yeah, I mean, he was a comedian. Yeah,
Bob Hope, Johnny Carson, Billy Crystal, too. I mean, they have hosted successfully. You know, you have Jack Lemmon that hosted, and Jane Fonda a few times. So you do have actors that have hosted I said Jack Lemmon. Who else?
Whoopi hosted.
Yeah, but she's comedian.
Yeah.
Even didn't Kermit the Frog host probably at some point? And someone actually they wanted the Muppets to host. But that I don't know how that would be. You think so? If the Muppets hosted?
That would be so much fun.
I bet if the Muppets hosted, people would say they weren't funny enough.
No, they would. Yeah. They would. Well, I would say, you know, Kermit didn't quite sound like Kermit.
Right.
Or, you know, something like that. Shall we say what we have to say about the Hangout commercial they aired?
If you want to, yeah, there was a Hangout commercial. If you want to talk about the Muppet Hangout commercial, I'm going to just interact with the audience on the
Well,
show.
it was great that they showed it. I mean, I'm glad, because we do love our Hangouts. But we also know that the Hangouts don't look like that anymore. But it is the Muppets in the Hangout. And they did pay for it. So they got to get some mileage out of it. We do love our Muppets. So
that was Jane Ellen on the Hangout commercial for the Muppets. Yeah, I mean it made sense to do the Muppet commercial. There was an iPhone commercial. There was the Jerry Seinfeld, Jay Leno commercial that keeps popping up. Leno, you know that whole thing. So the awards, I mean, I was on Mike Elgin's show, and we pretty much I just threw it out there. The artist is going to win, best picture, director, actor. That was kind of there. But you know, it's kind of like when the day of the show, you start thinking, oh, well, maybe they won't. Like Hugo started winning awards. You're like, oh, maybe are they trying to throw us off here? Because they know all the results, and I really think they schedule they try to make drama. They try to you know, there's certain awards you have to present the last award and actors,
of course,
director, but the other awards they mix up. Cinematography first. I don't remember. I don't know if that's standard or they changed that.
I think they changed it.
Yeah.
I don't recall cinematography winning first.
No, I don't remember that. I have
made that
my
guy
own
happy.
picks, and I have the winners. I'm sorry. Jane Ellen, I missed your last word. I missed your last words.
I don't know if I said anything. You kind of you got all choked up on me. So.
Oh, I do that. So, I mean, they're all mixed up here. They weren't mixed up there. I mean, here they have writing first, even though that wasn't the first award given out. So, original screenplay, you know, could have gone to the artist. A lot of people wanted Bridesmaids, and it was cool that they nominated a foreign film.
Do you like the way they presented the nominees for the writers? How they put the words up with the scenes? That's something they've been doing, actually. That's something they've been doing, at least last year they did it. Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, it's all right. I wonder if someone's said, oh, I didn't know my TV did closed captioning, or... Wow, you think that people... It was just like when they put the musical notes up for the best Yeah, I think
score.
People thought that. Yeah, I do.
That was weird. I'm sorry for those people. They thought that. But, you know, it's weird to me. I was going to just throw up that now I see it, writing original screenplay, they have foreign films, 5 foreign films, and yet one of them was nominated for Best Screenplay. So does that, and that was the one that won Best Foreign Film. So is that weird? Is that like a giveaway? It's like, if you're not, like, is that, how do they nominate, how does the foreign film slip into Best Writing? Is that strange to you? It's kind of weird, right?
Hey, if it's well written, it's well written.
I know, but it's like, how do you see the weird thing about awards? It's like, all right, there's best foreign film and best picture, and there's best directing, and there's
Yeah,
best
and
writing,
these are
and there's
supposed
best
to be
acting.
the not. These are supposed to be the American awards, because then you
Right.
have the other, the British Oscars and the this and the that.
Right. But to me, it's like, how do you, like, you don't even, like, if something is well written, it's not like people, when they vote on it, they've read the script. They've only seen the movie, so they're basically on seeing the movie. So how do you decide, all right, that movie, the writing was really great, but the directing was bad, or the directing was really great, but the writing was bad? I mean, is it, and then, but then sometimes that's cinematography, and, I don't know why I keep freezing, there we go. So as a director, writer, actor, editor, you could say, okay, that movie had way more sound in it, so maybe it was better, it had more of a challenge, or that movie had more costumes to deal with. They had to go and look for the costumes. But, I mean, you could take a very simple movie with very simple costumes, and the costumes were appropriate for that movie, and they were great, but they weren't, like, extravagant. They worked for the movie, just like the makeup worked for the movie. Even, you nominate Harry Potter, and I guess Iron Lady won, and I thought Albert Nobbs might win, and I know your specialty is makeup, and I just think if the makeup is good when you can't see it, when it's not apparent.
Yeah, that's really hard to do.
Yeah.
That's one of the first things I had to learn. It's like my agent said, if you can learn how to do fabulous makeup where no one can tell that you put makeup on someone, then you've learned how to do it. And it's like, oh man, it sucks.
Yeah, I agree.
And then I learned how to do it.
It's tough to really.
It's a subtlety. Which people don't necessarily appreciate, and they usually don't award, because it's obvious when you've done it's not obvious when you've done the gorilla mask, or you have all the prosthetics. I mean, it takes hours and hours of painstaking work every single day. And it's a different type of painstaking work to make someone look different with less and without the prosthetics, and it's a different type of work.
And not to overdo it. I didn't see J. Edgar, but to make, I don't know if you saw it, but I saw some clips to make Leonardo DiCaprio older. I thought it looked pretty good from what I saw, but I don't know. So that's the trickiest thing to do, to make a younger actor look older successfully, right?
Mhm.
Like,
yeah.
League of Their Own, I could have sworn that they took Gina Davis and they made her look older, but it was a different actress. Like, they played her older. So I was like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. That's why it looks so good. But, because it wasn't her.
But for you, for your love of movies, what makes a movie a great movie for you? I mean, for me, I want to forget really that I'm watching a movie. I know that kind of sounds stupid, but I want
it to be like a voyeur, right?
Yeah, I want it all to come together so much that I'm not aware of everything in it. Which is why I like to watch the very first Twilight movie, because I think it's so horrific. I like to make fun of it, because it's like, you can see this move here and that move there, and it makes me laugh. But I'm not taken out of myself to watch the movie. I see the film being made. It's so clangy.
Yeah, it is. That's painful, and I think that sometimes, I made a movie, and it's hard sometimes with the lower budget to really make the production, you get the most out of what you have, but sometimes you don't really have the location you need. You have to fake it. That could be tough, because that could take people out of the movie a little bit. Depends. But if the story is good, people are willing to accept a lot when they're watching a movie, and that's why, like, Twilight goes way above that, way out of it. But I think people, something like Blair Witch with a shaky camera, or Clerks that was, like, not shot well, people are willing to, they're like, if I can understand what you're saying, I don't have to struggle with what you're saying, and I could sit there and follow what the dialogue and the characters are doing, even if they're not speaking, which the artist, no speaking, I didn't even see it, shame on me, but, and I bet it's really good. And those kinds of movies are not movies that I had a little error. Those movies are not the kind of movies that the mass kids or audiences want to see, that are making the money. and being produced. I hear they're remaking everything under the sun, and they're re-releasing everything in 3D. Titanic, there was a commercial for Titanic 3D.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not surprised. Cameron's all over the 3D, but who needs to go watch Titanic in 3D? I mean, really? I get the ship's going to be bigger in your face, but really, it's to make more money, and it's frustrating. And those kinds of things, they feel like, all right, it's money in the bank. The movie is already made. We just add 3D, slap some 3D on it. All those people that never saw Titanic in the movie theater now get to see Titanic in 3D. So now Leonardo DiCaprio can say that he's king of the world and say, "You're so stupid, Rose. You're so stupid." In 3D, and everyone can cry again. We have a lot of people watching. Anthony Feliciano was talking about the NBA All-Star Game, that was another thing too. I don't understand this. The NBA All-Star Game was last night, and I get they have to do the Oscars on a Sunday, but the Oscars wants the younger audience to compete with an NBA All-Star Game, and they have to compete with The Walking Dead, which is like millions of kids are watching that. So, like, and whatever else is on.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
rough.
It's a tough uphill climb. You could have. I mean, even if Justin Bieber was hosting, which probably wouldn't happen, but I think there'd be...
But let's say he was.
Yeah, I don't think that would go over too well. I mean, because I think the Oscars still have this somewhat... I mean, they did sync with Anne Hathaway and James Franco, but I don't think that would happen. There are some questions. Oh, go ahead.
Yes, I was going to say, if Bieber did host,
yeah.
I wonder, other than a train wreck, well, I'm just assuming it would be a train wreck. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But would it just bring in, would the younger demo be that important? Because the younger demo is not the purchasing demo.
Right, and don't forget, I feel like there are a ton of people that are from, I don't know what age bracket, but the older people are watching Academy Awards. That majority, there's a lot of them. I get they want to go younger, so yeah, I don't think maybe Justin Bieber when he gets older, but again, I bet Justin Timberlake would be good, right?
Yeah, maybe. He's an excellent actor.
He would be a great actor, a great host. He sings. He could do.
He wears hats.
He's done Saturday Night Live
stuff
a million times. That would be good. I bet Justin Timberlake could probably pull Justin Timberlake and maybe Andy Samberg with him, or that would be offensive. I don't know. Maybe they would do that would be too much. I don't know, but they would do digital shorts, and that's what Billy did. I mean, just be younger. So if you're listening to Academy, Justin Timberlake, Andy Samberg, that might work. That might be something people. Although there would still be a lot of people that would groan and moan. And,
yes, they would.
And everybody that groans and moans, what's your answer?
JT and Don Rickles. There you go. You go from one end to the other.
That might be. I love Don Rickles, but maybe JT and someone older, but I don't even know who would be at this point. I don't know. I would love to see Robin Williams again, but he'd be all over the place, and people would say, "Oh, this isn't funny." But to me, Robin Williams is always funny. So
someone is always going to complain. Always.
About everything. We have Matty James is saying comedy is the hardest and can be the most offensive too. Matty, no problem. Chatting is good. It is hard. It can be offensive. You never know. One thing that offends me won't offend someone else. Mm-hmm. And you never know. I know Ricky Gervais got a lot of slack at the Golden Globes the first time, and he was tamer the second time. But Chris Rock, they people on Twitter were annoyed that Billy Crystal did his Sammy Davis Jr. I'm like, really? That's his SNL character.
That's right. Well, they probably didn't know that. They didn't know. They thought it was just, why is he? Well, if they did, they probably didn't even know it was Sammy Davis Jr. Oh, yeah, that's right. They probably just thought he was in blackface and thought that was him being offensive. See, that's just it, too, that people don't understand, the references. So it's like, why is Billy Crystal randomly in blackface named some guy named Sammy? But I'm guessing they didn't know it was Sammy Davis Jr., and it's not like he was doing a Ted Danson. It was a character. So people are too sensitive, I think, on the internet. Maybe the younger generation is too sensitive. Is that it? Is that what's going on? Well, they've been raised with always be PC. Yeah. I don't know. Maddie says Justin Timberlake can pull it off. Yeah, I think so. And it's funny. That's not something I was even thinking about.
but we said Justin Bieber. Made me think of Justin. Yeah, Anthony was watching. Just in case, nice one. Jane Ellen with the reach. Anthony Feliciano said he's watched the NBA All-Star game with the ham commercial as well. Yeah, they're probably just attack. And that's another thing that would be interesting to me on that topic, to know that, to see like what were the spikes in numbers for Google Plus or Hangouts during that time. Like, did they spike up, or we'll never find out. But
that's a secret.
It's a secret of my success, or Plus success. Alex Landgrave, hello, and Stacey Ferris, who both joined me last week. Yeah, questions. She said, am I alone, or is it a growing trend that people have never seen the movies being nominated? To me, movies are not as epic as they used to be, hence not driving me to the theaters. Yeah, I don't think people get to see the nominated movies. I think he's right on.
You're right.
And actually, there are a lot of movies that are nominated that people like, that was a movie that came out. I think maybe not the artist, but I think a lot of people, like, in a lot of the acting awards too, like Iron Lady and Beginners, a lot of these, I think, like, people knew, like, Moneyball, they knew Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Maybe they knew The Descendants, maybe. They knew, like, the animated films. Oh, yeah, I know Rango, you know.
Yeah, but was Rango the best animated film that came out last year? Was it the only one that came out?
No, and I picked Rango. I think Rio, here are the other, here, I have the nominations up. Let's see, animated. I mean, I slept through most of last year, so. Yeah, you have an excuse. Cat in Paris, I never heard of. Chico and Rita, never heard of. I don't know.
Chico and the Man, I know, but.
Chico and the Man. Kung Fu Panda 2, which a lot of people thought might win. Puss in Boots, which I guess is the offspring from Shrek, and then Rango. And I hear Rango is more of an adult film. Gore Verbinski did it, and Johnny Depp. I still haven't seen it. I hear it's really good.
I've seen it about 4 or 5 times because I own it. Yeah.
So did you like it?
It's all right.
Yeah.
I don't dislike it. I didn't go the same with Rio. I mean, I like it. Okay. Yeah. I'm not taken with it. But it's all right. Yeah, Motivus Jones said Tintin, and I think it is weird, and maybe because they don't consider The Adventures of Tintin to be animated. It was kind of like a motion capture thing, right? In a sense. Probably. It didn't qualify.
In between. Yeah, and I know that we talked about it on Mike Elligan's show, too, is that things like what Andy Serkis does in Planet of the Apes and Lord of the Rings, there's no category for best motion capture actor.
Yeah, Andy Serkis. Like incredible. My precious.
And to do that kind of work, I mean, to be strapped up and have to work like that is pretty amazing. You know, I know Warwick Davis does some of that work, and he has to wear a lot of makeup. Let's see. Yeah, Stacey, thanks for watching. Thanks for the question. Yeah, so I had to be honest with you. Now looking at, if we go through let's go through Best Picture. So Best Picture, the Artist I did not see. The Descendants I did see. I did not see Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. I saw The Help. I did not see Hugo. I did not see Midnight in Paris. I did see Moneyball. Did not see Tree of Life because I don't have enough hours to kill. And Warhorse, I saw the play, but not the movie. So I've only saw, out of 9 nominees, I saw 3. So is that pretty bad?
Oh, that's okay. Do you like it now that more can be nominated?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think 5. I think it was funny that 9 for the song, but yeah, I mean it was 10, and then they're like, all right, they're doing this vote system. I think 5 is enough because what happens is, how do you nominate 9 films but only 5 directors? So you're basically saying that the other 4 directors were not worthy, but their films were. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it is odd, isn't it? And it's like we just can't make up our minds, so we're going to nominate a whole bunch, and then we'll just throw it out there like spaghetti, and something's going to stick on the wall.
Right.
Because people, in a way of mourning, would want to see something to help them deal with it because she was such an icon.
And Jennifer Hudson was what they did, and I think that was done right, and I think Jennifer Hudson sounded amazing, and she looks amazing. I thought she looked great before, but even now. The BCS is running nominations. He's talking about sports, I think. But overall, the show, I thought it was good. Let's take a look at. Let's go through the awards. Like I was trying to do that. Let's see. I got distracted. So
Shiny
yeah, I'm talking
objects.
about the original screenplay. Shiny objects that may appear closer in the rearview mirror. Meatloaf. Yeah. So Midnight in Paris won. Of course, Woody Allen doesn't show up to these things. He doesn't believe in accepting awards for his work. Someone said something about a quote that he said. He said that he doesn't want his work to be immortal, but him not dying to be immortal, something like that. I don't know, I'm quoting it wrong. Now, writing. I did see Bridesmaids. I did see Margin Call. So it's 2 of the 5 movies. So not surprised that Woody won. Did you see any of those movies? Separation, Man in Paris, Margin Call. You see Bridesmaids, right?
No, I haven't seen Jack.
Oh, you haven't seen Jack. But you do know Jack.
Yes, I do know Jack.
You do. Everybody knows Jack.
Yeah.
Especially when he's not at the... do you think Jack Nicholson will ever be back at the Oscars, or only if he's nominated? Because he's at every Laker game still, right?
I mean, he likes a good party.
Yeah, here's Johnny. That's terrible. I need to be shot for that. I have too many windows open. That's
Whenever I think of Jack Nicholson, I think of The Simpsons and The Shining.
The Shining. Oh my God, memories. Adapted screenplay. So I guess they take a book and they make it their own.
Yes.
The Descendants I saw and I thought would win. Hugo again didn't see. Ides of March did not see. I did think it's interesting that a movie that George Clooney was in was up against a movie that he wrote, directed, and was in. That was interesting. Moneyball I did see.
Yeah.
And I did sit through and almost sleep through the entire Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, which Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman's a great actor, but can I tell you, this was a snooze fest. I mean, they showed a scene from it, and literally the British 1950s or 40s talking very specifically the entire movie like a BBC kind of broadcast, very quiet. Very, that was
and you didn't have a razor blade to end your pain?
Yeah, and I like a good spy movie, but they were like, spoiler alert, they talked like that the entire movie, and then there were a couple of guns at the end to finish it, but by then it was like,
if only they'd blown up real good.
Yeah, that would be good. But yeah, for an intelligent movie, I just felt like it was a snooze fest. Moneyball is a good movie, and I feel like I was talking to someone about this before. It felt that Field of Dreams, where Kevin Costner gets nominated. Field of Dreams is a good movie, and everyone's good in it. And they did actually baseball. He was doing the James Earl Jones. Billy Crystal was making fun of him.
Well, he does love his baseball.
He does love his baseball. He got nominated for that movie, and that's a good movie. But again, is it Oscar caliber? I don't know what that means anyway. But so Moneyball, I feel, is in that same spot where Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill are good, but they're not like, oh my God, like amazing. They're good, I thought Brad Pitt was more amazing in. There's lots of other performances, even Benjamin Button. Benjamin
Button.
Yeah, but even that, most of that was the special effects more than him, I think. But so let's see.
So, do you think that movies? Do you think the stories are as good now as they were 50 years ago?
50
or more.
I mean, the styles, obviously, every decade.
I mean, the styles are different. Yeah. Of course, the production values are different, but are the stories as good?
That's really hard to say. I mean, I think overall, to me, the time of movies, the stories are really great. Were like 60s, 70s, those kind of those decades, really were great stories. But you can find great stories in every decade. But yeah, the movies themselves are not overall. The stories are not as good, but as they were. But I think that you do get. It's not across the board. The problem is that more movies that are coming out want to be Transformers and want to deal with that kind of thing. That could be exciting, but a movie like even a Black Swan, where it's not in your face blowing things up, or or maybe that's not the best example. I'm trying to think. Like The Descendants. The Descendants is all talking and emotion, and it's a great movie, but a lot of people want to go to movies to see things blow up and to feel good. And so if they go to a movie that where neither of those things happen, or one of those things don't happen, or I mean, I know people that go to movies and say, "Oh my God, it's so depressing. I can't sit through all these this movie's depressing." But a movie's an experience, and sometimes that experience is gonna be, it'll be impactful, but you might be crying, you might be upset, but it's like the theater too, the opera. It's not always gonna be a happy ending, and it kind of bothers me that everything has to be a happy ending. And there are those when a movie has an happy ending.
You don't like a happy ending?
No, I do. But what I'm saying is I like variety, and so when it's only a happy ending, it's like, all right, that was great, that was happy. But think about all the movies that didn't have a happy ending that maybe you didn't know if you liked or you didn't like. But when the movie ended, you were like, oh, you were thinking, at least even though you're like, you don't agree with it, it still gave you thought, it still gave you that feeling like you're not sure what to think. And that's cool, isn't it? No?
Mm-hmm.
Have you had that experience?
Yeah, for me, most movies, they of course they fall in different categories because they're different genres. But for me, one of the best written films is Casablanca. It just is. Other than being well acted and well produced, it's just what an exceptional story.
And if they remake that movie, would that make you?
I don't want them to. Yes, it would. I would not stop throwing up. I don't want it to be remade. Don't remake the good movies. And I know that one day, Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope will be remade for no reason. They remade
Arthur. I mean, I didn't see it.
I know.
I don't know.
But yeah, I saw the new one.
Was it bad?
Oh, I've seen worse movies. Some of it was amusing, and Helen Mirren is always good. So it was okay, but why remake Arthur? Well, of course, alcoholism isn't funny anymore, but still, when Arthur was made, you could laugh about it because it was hilarious. It's just my thing is, don't remake the good movies. If you're going to remake a movie, remake a bad one.
Well, then why remake? Only if you can
make
it good.
and make it into a good one. However, of course, they remake the good ones because you already know it's a good story, and 25, 30 years later, people are like, who's Billy Crystal? I don't know what that movie is, so let's do it.
Right.
So that's why.
And that happens, but I actually heard people talking about Back to the Future being remade.
Yes, I know. I've heard that too. It's like, don't do it.
Like, I get, like, I think they try to remake Revenge of the Nerds, which I guess is okay, but...
and another Ghostbusters? Why? Why?
Well,
the first one was brilliant.
Right, and 2 was... but I don't know, I just...
We don't need... I pretend the 2 didn't exist.
It was still nice to see them together, but, it's, to me, sometimes when the story is bad, it's less about the story and more about the actors enjoying their time together. And so that's why Ocean's 11 is a remake, and I think it was good. Ocean's 12 was crap. 13 was better than 12, but still not so great. And so, like, it's like milking the cow. That's what Hollywood does. They want to milk the cow until the end of time.
There are a lot of cows there.
There are a lot of cows. Visual effects, went to Hugo. So Hugo was on a run. So, Hugo beat out... I didn't see Hugo, and I know it was 3D as well. It beat out Harry Potter, Real Steel, Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Harry Potter
visual effects
is like the film that has grossed the most but has won nothing. That series, correct?
I don't know if it's won nothing. I think it's got to won at least one visual effect. No, something. No, maybe not. I don't know. I guess I can Google it.
Let me check on that for you.
Okay, while you're researching that, let me go through. So, to me, visual effects, I would have thought Rise of the Planet of the Apes might have had a chance because it's monkeys. But I think
it's monkeys.
It's easy to produce so many random monkeys, but I guess Hugo must be stunning to look at.
I guess.
It won for visual, it won for sound, and I think it won for cinematography. I'm not wrong. And so it must look pretty good. I mean, it beat out a movie about wizards, a movie about big-ass robots, 2 movies about big-ass robots, Real Steel and Transformers, if you can call it a movie, I don't know, and then a movie about monkeys. And James Franco. So I hear James Franco was more awake during that movie. You know, and it's weird, too. I mean, certain people are great actors and good movie actors, but they're not performers. They don't have that charisma when it's live, or, you know, there's a lot of pressure, too, with the Oscars.
Yes, Harry Potter has been nominated 12 times with 0 wins.
0 wins. And way too many movies. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they figure out how to squeeze in more Harry Potter, so for all I know, they'll try to do that. So then we got sound mixing and sound editing. Everyone's like, what's the difference between sound mixing and sound editing? And it's really, you know, one is about, editing is really about trying to, it's more about what sounds are going to be in the movie, and the mixing is more about the volumes and the tracks and the. But either way, it makes sense that the same movie wins both, and Hugo won both. I don't understand. Hugo, Girl the Dragon Tattoo, and Transform. Oh, so for some reason, Drive was nominated for sound editing, but not for sound mixing. And Moneyball was nominated for sound mixing, but not for sound editing. So to me, I don't understand that aspect. Why every other nominee was identical in both categories except those 2, which is weird.
It could have been like when you take a standardized test, and it's like when I would get to the math section and I just didn't know, and I just go, I'll just put this. And so maybe a lot of them just couldn't decide, and they said, I'll just put that.
Well, and also another thing too, I don't know, I know I'm a member of SAG, and there's a nominating committee for that, but as far as the Oscars, I guess there's a nominating committee. If there is, I guess there has to be. And I think that people vote for their friends, and so that's what happens. People are like, if you are a fan of, say, Moneyball, every single category, no matter what it is getting Moneyball. So that's what everybody was doing, and so just evened out somehow. I would have liked to see Drive get maybe a little bit more nominations. It was an interesting movie. I know a lot of people wanted to see Albert Brooks get nominated, although I don't really think Albert Brooks has been so amazing, so many things, and this he's like, It's like he's like a stereotypical bad guy. So, did you see Drive?
I've just seen Jack.
Oh, you still.
Yeah, remember, I haven't left the house in forever. Children.
I get it. I picked an amazing.
You don't take me out nearly as much as you used to. You're such a slacker.
Yeah, I know. Tennessee is a long way away. So, I mean, a lot of these categories, too, are categories that most people only care about, like, 4 or 5 categories. They're like director, picture, actors, right? That's pretty much it, right? Maybe writing. Yeah. But even that, they don't really care. Like, 2 songs, that was an outrage. 2 songs for music. Like, they couldn't fill that out.
Were there no other songs?
I don't know.
For any movies? I mean, if I was the songwriter, and I know plenty of them, I would be so pissed off. Because it's just like... Or are all the songs just recycled from the 60s and stuck in a soundtrack? Yeah, it's really terrible that why would there, and then to not let them perform the songs, it makes no sense to me. 2 songs, you can't let them perform them? It's not like you had 4 or 5. It's bad enough you're going to do 2, let them perform, you know, they were there. Yeah, I mean, they could have had James Franco sing them. Wow, James Franco. I'll pass. But Jason Segel was there. He could have done, you know, Muppet of Man, and did you see the Muppet movie? That was good. Muppets are always good. They always deliver. They always know who they are. They always bring home the bacon. Yeah. But they never fry her up, though. Speaking of which, speaking of bacon and pigs, Angry Birds Space, March 22nd. Just wanted to throw that out there. Angry Birds. Is that the new version? I'm not sure what you're saying. Pigs in Space. Yep. Nice. Yeah. Are you a big Angry Birds fan? Yeah. Cool. Have you beat every single board? Just about, yeah. Original score.
like, first of all, why call it original score? I mean, you're not adapting a score. Why not just say best score? Why say original score? I don't get that. Was it always, I think at one point it was best score and not original score. It's like, I feel like...
Well, maybe that had to change perhaps with Amadeus, because that's not your original music. They did have to adapt it because it was written by Mozart.
Right. I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe.
I guess. I reckon.
Weird. It's weird. I mean, yeah, but even then...
That's really the only one that pops into my head at the moment.
So the artist won, and
whenever I hear the artist, I have to follow it up with formerly known as Prince. It's just
nice joke, nice slip in, nice. Ow! Ow. Get it in there. I don't know what Prince was thinking. So John Williams was nominated twice for both Spielberg films, Tintin and Warhorse, and I think that's like Tintin's only nomination. Did you see Tintin? I did not see that.
Have you not heard any of our conversation?
I have. You said you don't leave the house, but it's a kid's film.
I do leave the house, but no, I haven't seen it.
You're busy. You're a busy woman. Yeah, Hugo was Howard Shore.
Howard Shore, of course, who provided the score for?
There are lots of things.
Well, he did win an Oscar for Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, yeah, I think so. Yeah. Makeup was here. We talked about that a little bit. I don't know if you want to. Is there anything to say about Meryl Streep as Margaret Thatcher? That she was the makeup.
She looked great.
She looked great. Separation won. I didn't see any of these foreign films. It was interesting that Iran won. Well, Iran didn't win. It just from out of Iran, and I mean, you never know if Iran's going to be if we actually, we just left Iraq. Hopefully, we won't invade Iran.
I have some Iranian friends, and they always say they're from Persia.
Interesting. It used to be called that at one point. Girl with Dragon Tattoo slipped in for film editing, and that's interesting. I feel like they really wanted to spread the love around because it's like it's going to be to the artist or the descendants or Hugo, but they give it to Dragon Tattoo, which is a great. A lot of people like the original. I like both. David Fincher is an amazing filmmaker, and Rooney Mara is great. So is.
Who's your favorite filmmaker? Who's your favorite? Do you have one?
I like so many. As a kid, it was Spielberg. As a kid, it was Spielberg. And at some point, then I saw American Beauty, and I started to like Sam Mendes more. But now as an adult, I mean, P.T. Anderson really blows me away. And now P.T. Anderson and Darren Aronofsky, I always look forward to whatever they have coming out at the top. And then a little below that, Wes Anderson. But the styles, I really like their different styles that they come out with. Of course, Martin Scorsese. There's a lot of them. It's like actors. I don't have a favorite actor, but definitely American Beauty and The Wrestler and Black Swan and those movies are up there for me. What about you? Do you have a favorite director? I mean,
Hitchcock.
Hitchcock, yeah. Yeah, Hitchcock is great too. He did his stories and his films are amazing. He's done so many of them. So many amazing films over the years.
Hitchcock, my two favorite are Notorious and North by Northwest.
Yeah, and that's interesting. The Cirque du Soleil that they did with the North by Northwest was cool. But I thought it was interesting, but I almost feel like it probably was way better being there than seeing it on TV.
Yeah. And I also thought, why are they doing that? I mean, if you want to wrap up the Oscars, why is Cirque du Soleil here? I mean, they are amazing. Or is it because it's a global audience and you need to communicate globally?
Well, and Cirque du Soleil is French or Canadian or French. I'm not sure, but maybe it had to do with the fact that they knew the artist was going to win, and that was French. And French actor. Who knows? You never know how they pile these things together. I mean,
it was a really great way, the way they used film with it. It's just if they wanted to save time, chop it.
Well, they did save time by getting rid of so many other things.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was chopped up. But then again, I did what I always do. I let it go for like 45 minutes, and I start
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know. Then they did this segment throughout with they didn't even set it up. They just jumped to people, documentary style, like it's like Modern Family. Yeah, they're just people sitting there talking about the movies, which is cool, but I don't know.
For me, I got more Oscar fun out of watching Turner Classic.
Yeah. All right.
And it just all the little stories about people in the past who had won Oscars, and it just a lot of background stuff and trivia.
I did not see the documentaries. Directing was the artist. Costume design was the artist. But art direction was Hugo. I guess art direction it's production design and set decoration. It's the more you look at when you break down awards like this, the more you think, they're votes and they vote on one, but at the end of the day, one was better than the other. No, they were all good, So,
yeah, of course they were. And that's why it's an honor to be nominated.
Well, yeah, especially like Jonah Hill and Melissa McCarthy, those two.
Well, that's huge.
Yeah, I mean that's huge. I mean. Look, I think they're both great. Actually, I was more happy than Melissa McCarthy. I recognize Jonah Hill. He's good in the movie, but you don't watch the movie and think, oh my god. Like even Brad Pitt, he's good. Sometimes you have to wonder, is it just? It's like, all right, it's the Brad Pitt film this year. But he did do Tree of Life, which I didn't see. Let's see, Hugo won cinematography. Rango we talked about. Octavia Spencer, that was the best. I think the best speech of the night. The crying. She was. Her and Meryl, but really her, just, and then she said Christian Bale was the hottest guy in the room. I don't know, but and Billy did make a little something like a guy you don't want to step in front of his eye line.
Oh yes, that was great. Yes, I did enjoy that.
He did say that, and Christian Bale ignored that.
And I love it that Christopher Plummer won because that's for me that's another Star Trek win right there.
Yeah, and the fact that it took so long for him to win. He's been in amazing sound of music. He was in A Beautiful Mind. He's been in countless number of films.
He's an extraordinary career.
Yeah, it's like when Peter O'Toole won. I think he won the Lifetime. He never won an Oscar, right? He's been nominated. I don't know. He was nominated for Venus. I don't know if he won for that. I didn't see that movie.
Yeah, he's amazing. What a beautiful man. When he was like 30 years old, just incredible. So I was thrilled that Christopher Plummer won it.
Elizabeth Jones says Chris Columbus and Richard Donner are his favorites, which is interesting. Throwback to the 80s. French Canadian, okay. Or Cirque du Soleil. Oh, Brolin was on a date. No problem, you're allowed to be on a date. Hopefully you enjoyed your date. She said the Cirque du Soleil stuff was a waste of time. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I didn't think it was that long, and I didn't think we'd get much out of it. You saw them gather in the front row to eat some popcorn. Next thing I know, you saw the North by Northwest, people were flying, and there was like a wide shot of people spinning, and then it was over, right?
Yeah, there was that, and I kept thinking, actually what I was thinking, what were those suits made of, is what I was thinking. What was the material the suits were made of?
You wanted to feel their material? Because
they were able to be so flexible in their suits.
Yeah.
So they had to be something flexible. That's all I could think of. Wow. And then they went to a shot of Clooney, and I went, oh, Clooney. And,
Clooney, they want Clooney to look fascinated.
Yeah, he did.
Something to watch.
He's like, oh, look at that. And Stacy Keibler is like, oh, look at that. And I thought she might be thinking, oh, we did that on Dancing with the Stars. And
sure they did.
And that was it. It was over, yeah.
Yeah, almost. Let's see. Meryl won.
And then they wore like those tuxedo T-shirts.
I tried to see the. I don't know. I didn't get it. I got that when they came out of North by Northwest. Was there another after North by Northwest was over? Was there anything else related to movies? I couldn't figure it out.
I saw tuxedo T-shirts and it was over. They brought the people from the artists onto the stage. They brought them from the front row onto the stage.
Oh, okay. Why? I didn't get it.
I don't know.
And then Meryl Streep won in a category that was crowded with, I mean, I think the females, Glenn Close, Viola Davis, Rooney Mara, Meryl Streep, and Michelle Williams, any of them deserved the win. And not that I only saw The Help. I saw 2 of the movies, The Help and Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Yeah, and Meryl, when Meryl's up there, she always has a chance. And people have called her the best actress of all time, right? So, nominated 17 times. Last time she won was 30 years ago, so...
Wow, 30 years?
Yeah, something like that. Was it Sophie's Choice or 80? I don't know what it was, but... Or maybe not, something else. That was one of her first movies. She's always great. I think Meryl Streep's great in everything she does, right? She never is bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see all Mamma Mia, but...
I did.
You did.
Yeah.
But yeah, but she got to sing. I mean, that's what she got to do.
She wasn't the bad part of Mamma Mia. It was Pierce Brosnan. You know, Remington Steele didn't bring it.
Wow,
But hey, you know,
right.
people like
the actors too. You know, everyone kept saying Clooney, and that was trying to make me think, really, would they vote popularity? But I didn't see the artist, but from what I know, Jean Dujardin was the artist. Like he made the movie, from what I can tell. And then the artist won Best Picture. And then we talk again. Tom Cruise was the reason, was the person that they went to. What is...
What, is it because you were unavailable?
It was because I was unavailable. I was too busy shooting Mission Impossible Never. Coming to a theater, never to be seen, ever. I'm not sure what the deal was. In the past, I think it's been like Spielberg. Cruise has probably done it before. Hanks gave out the first award. Streisand did it one year, I think. Scorsese. But yeah, I think Marty was a little disappointed he didn't win Best Picture, or Director anyway. But I feel like his movie got a lot of recognition. I think a lot of people will be seeing Hugo as well. I think it might even won more than I didn't even count, but it was, let's see, literally 1, 2, I am counting, live counting, that's exciting, 3, 4, 5, 5.
You can count to 5? Nice.
I only 5. I can only count to 5. Something many people don't know about me, plus 5. So Hugo and the artist both won 5 awards. So there it is.
Well, even though Scorsese didn't win, just being nominated, all the films are going to get a bump at the box office because people are aware of them. It's like, oh, that's a movie?
And I heard mixed things about Incredibly Loud and Extremely Close, Extremely Close and Incredibly Loud. Tom Hanks, Sandra Bullock, I know that it's like a 9/11 movie. Tom Hanks is barely in. It's really about the kid and the guy, Max von Sydow, who's also 82, got nominated, did not win. But yeah, I don't know. Do you guys think out there that it should be back to 5? Do we need 9? Do we need to have so many people nominated? What if it's showing saying Eric Stoltz is available to redo Back to the Future? That should be never happening. He'll never do that. He might have to play George McFly. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Eric Stoltz was living Marty McFly. So they thought he was too serious and he wasn't funny enough. So they got Michael J. Fox. There's some footage online of that. And I think on an episode of Fringe, I think it was an episode of Fringe, this is geeky, but they made a joke when they go into the alternate dimension. It said Back to the Future starring Eric Stoltz.
Oh, really?
So,
nice.
Yeah, because things were different, yeah. So that was kind of funny. But
not everybody would get that.
No, not everybody would get that. But yeah, so Eric Stoltz, great. He's another one. He's a great actor. He's great in Pulp Fiction, Mask, a lot of things. But he never, I don't know. It's like
Cher. That's who should host. Everybody knows Cher.
Wow. You think so? Cher's just as old as Billy Crystal. I don't know.
Just saying.
Hey, if you could turn back time and do that. I don't know. You think Cher would be up for it? Maybe Cher and Justin Timberlake. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe the two. You were picturing something else there. All right.
That would be interesting.
I don't know if they would do something like that. The Academy, if you're watching, members of the Academy, Brian Grazer, if you're watching, you want some advice.
Yeah, we're full of it.
Full of it. So Motivus Jones is saying, what do either of you think they could do to improve or fix some of the bad spots? Not that I found it all that bad. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think that what they need to do is, I think that the style of Billy, going back to it, was good.
Yeah, they need somebody like that. I mean, it's probably a great deal of pressure. I mean, I've hosted things, I know, and I haven't hosted the Oscars, but it's probably a great deal of pressure to do that, and whether or not he'll do it again this coming year, who knows. So they need someone who can keep it together, who's just as strong.
Can
keep a show together.
Yeah. I wonder if Eddie Murphy will be up again, or that's it. That was the one chance that he's done for good because the Academy dissed his friend, and that whole thing, rehearsal is for FAGS. And then Billy Crystal said rehearsal is for gags with a G in response. That was his response. Yeah, and I don't know. I think that we're too sensitive. You used to be able to say things and not get into trouble, and it's like, I think that nobody wants to hurt anyone's feelings specifically, and I think that people shouldn't be going after, racial undertones and attack people, but, I mean, isn't there a point where, for the sake of a gag, or, I mean, people say, well, then that's not funny, but...
That's why I like Don Rickles, because his theory is, if you make fun of everybody,
yeah.
I mean, you're not just going after one segment of the population, because then you are picking on somebody all the time, and then it's not funny. But if it's a great joke, then it's a joke.
Yeah.
There's a difference between bullying, I think, and a joke, a genuine joke.
And I feel like every time somebody does something or says something, they are put on the spotlight. And I think it does depend where they stay and what they say, but I don't know. If you're specifically doing a comedy show, and it's specifically for the sake of comedy, and you're trying to entertain, you're not being interviewed, you're trying to entertain, I feel like, what are the limits? I mean, I've gone to filthy comedy shows, and I don't necessarily think that, the N-word comes out all the time, usually from a black comedian, unless you're Kramer, that poor bastard. But I don't know. What do you think? Do you guys out there think that people are too sensitive, and that back in the 80s, people were a lot less... If you go back and watch some of the 80s stand-ups and the 80s movies, they were definitely not PC, and so is it... I mean, to watch every single word that people say, I mean, it's really about intent, really. And so I think that...
Yeah, but you never really know someone's intent.
But,
you can't. I think if it's funny, it's funny. And if it's for me, if it's someone who really seems to have a problem, and I know that they have a problem, I'm not going to intentionally go after them because they have a legitimate problem. And so therefore, to me, that is not funny.
Yeah.
But
George Clooney kissing Billy Crystal is funny. That was funny.
It's hilarious.
Hilarious, and say what you want. But
yeah, loved it.
But yeah, that was. I think that was it. I think anything else about the Oscars that you loved, you hated, that stood out that we didn't cover? Didn't cover the kitchen sink. I don't know.
I think we'd both like to say again that we are available for next year.
We are available. We can host Plus. We might have to, if we don't do the Oscars, I think we'll have to do maybe a live Oscar telecast while it's happening. Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
So who do you think's going to host next year? Is it Billy's never? It's done, right? That was Billy's last.
Probably.
And Billy, you've been great. And I was happy. It's so funny when he did the song. He's like, "You didn't really think I wasn't going to do it, right?" Like, he knew. He's not stupid.
Yeah.
But I think when he was saying, saying things like, oh, that killed early in rehearsal with the band, and he was starting to feel a little insecure maybe about some of his jokes.
Again, when I get my phone tomorrow, he'll let me know how he thinks he did. He doesn't like to send emails. He just wants to call and talk it over with me. So we'll find out tomorrow. Yeah. I can let you know then.
You should let me know. Call me on the Matt phone. The Matt phone.
The bath phone.
The bath phone. The bath phone. The Arthur phone. Bronwyn said it was Meryl Streep winning in 1982 for Sophie's Choice, so that was 30 years ago.
Oh, God. Sophie's Choice. That's a movie that I only needed to see once. Also like Deliverance, but Sophie's Choice was just so devastating.
Yeah. Well, people will say, and I'll do my G Forum, my Hangout Conversations, which, by the way, is every Thursday, and Paul Rassan will be on Thursday. This or that kind of thing, and sometimes I'll give people a Sophie's Choice. I'll give them something so hard to choose between, that probably not a great reference, but whatever. It's all good. I don't have to be completely PC.
Yeah, Deliverance is a movie that I'm glad I watched. Because, I've been meaning to tell you this, Matthew. For a city boy, you got a pretty mouth.
Uh-oh.
But I don't need to see Deliverance again.
Yeah, Ned Beatty doesn't need us to see it again either.
No, I don't think so. It's just, once was enough, really.
Motivist Jones was saying Natalie Portman said, and this is before the show, she was glad she knew people in the audience would not be directly attacked with jokes or for jokes. And I guess, isn't that what Hollywood, shouldn't they have thick skin to take it? I don't know what they were expecting. And Billy Crystal threw out the cupcake line with Jonah Hill and something else. I mean, you have to be able to take those kind of things. People might crap about you all the time. Did we freeze?
Jonah Hill might be able to host Junior.
Jonah Hill? Oh, Jonah Hill, Seth Rogen, maybe. I don't know if they want to do that.
Seth Rogen would be high the whole time.
Maybe.
I mean, he's always high. That's what he tells Howard Stern. He's always high.
Is he on Howard Stern a lot?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't keep up with who's on Howard Stern.
So I can just hear him laughing in my head. But he's able to function.
Yeah. He has plenty of money to function.
Yeah, he does.
So that helps. So I think we're gonna. So that's a good wrap up on the Oscars. We're gonna be doing the show hopefully weekly. Maybe on Mondays. We'll see. We're gonna be talking TV, movies, maybe some pop culture stuff. There's we didn't talk about one of the greatest moments of the Oscars actually was the Christopher Guest sketch that they did.
Oh my God, yeah.
That was so funny, and maybe the Christopher Guest troupe could host the Oscars. That could be funny, right?
Now I'll bet some people originally did not recognize who all those fine actors were.
Yeah, that's true. Christopher Guest, Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, Jennifer Coolidge, Bob Balaban, Fred Willard. Yeah, great. And there's a few others that didn't get in there, but
and the idea, and I'm sure that such a thing happened, that there's a focus group saying, I don't like Dorothy. I don't like this.
Right.
More monkeys. Can we get rid of the rainbow song? People have to put up with stuff like that all the time with their movies.
Yeah, and my movie as well, I'm in a movie called Yoko Shimono about a mime and a therapist, and people don't like the mime, people don't like the therapist, people don't like the beginning, the ending, they don't get this, they don't get that, they love these characters but not those characters. Why did they use this lighting or this costume or this location, or it's just it's crazy. And actually there's a movie that Robert De Niro was in where he played a producer. Sean Penn was in it. I forgot what it was called. It was all right. But in the movie, Sean Penn's in this movie. The director has the dog get shot and killed at the beginning or the end of the movie. They kill the guy and they kill the dog. So when they killed the dog, there was an audible ugh. So they were like, De Niro was like, you got to get rid of the dog. You're dying. The dog can't die. And so eventually they make the cut where the dog doesn't die, but the guy fools him, so it does die in the can. And when they go to Cannes, there was more of that kind of. Some people applauded it, but a lot of people walked out. But it's just.
I have to say, at the beginning of Gladiator, I kept looking for that German Shepherd. It's like, is the dog going to be okay? And then they just never showed the dog again. It's like, I hope the dog's okay.
That poor dog. That poor movie. So, TV-wise, I don't watch a lot of reality TV. I do watch Celebrity Apprentice. I didn't see it yet this year. There's 2 episodes. I'm behind. I've been too busy plussing. And that was another show that was on last night, I guess, during the Oscars. Another thing to compete with. American Idol is more of your thing. I've watched it.
Well, we have to watch it because my friend Nathan is playing fiddle on it.
Yeah, and he might possibly be on my show on Friday. Hopefully. So there are lots of TV shows. If there are TV shows out there that you watch that you want us to watch and talk about, Walking Dead for me, Fringe, I'm behind on all that stuff, and old shows too, catching up on that. And I know The Wire, everyone says, oh my God, The Wire's the best show or movie or whatever you want to call it to ever be on. I've never seen it, so.
I haven't either.
Need to watch that. Friday Night Lights, there's a lot of great ones I haven't watched that people love.
I love Burn Notice.
USA Network. Cool.
I love Burn Notice. I can't help it.
It's funny you mention that because there's a guy named Brian Aldrich who I always said looked like Sean Spencer from the show Psych. You ever watch that show?
I have seen Psych. Yeah.
Let's read a couple more comments. Browan said, my thoughts on quote-unquote acceptable racism. It depends. Some of the signs people have made for Jeremy Lin were offensive and unfunny, but some of them were just too funny. Talking to a girl who wrote, I want you inside with me, or inside me. Okay, but that's not racist. That's his name, Lin. But anyway, despite... Well, is that how is it offensive? Like, if your name is Lin and you said, I want you inside me, that has nothing to do with racism, right? That's
I don't see how that has to do with racism. It's his play on his name.
It's like, my name is Rappaport. I want to Rappaport you to death or something. I don't know. Which probably sounds like a dessert. On Deliverance, I didn't need to see the whole thing to get all the references. Praise to be Google. Anyway. Yeah, I mean, I think the thing with Lin, I know that Chi-Chu had made a thing about Jeremy Lin. Someone had called him the C word in Armor, the bad racial slur for Chinese people, and I don't agree with doing that. Those words can be kept away, but sometimes I think the problem is that when you are that race, you can say it in society, even though it still should be the same thing. But because you are black, you say the N-word. You're Jewish, you say a K-word. Whatever. You say the word. If you're Italian, you say the G-word or whatever. All these words. We've given them all this power too. So there's like 2 schools of thought. Like we can either. This is getting very deep for an entertainment show.
Well, I know, but I agree with you. As you know, I used to be extremely heavy. As a matter of fact, I was super morbidly obese, which meant I could fly. And
wow.
Super. I had special powers. And so I say fat. However, I would never, ever allow my children to call somebody fat. They have to say overweight. It's like... But still, they can't say that someone's fat.
What about chunky or chubby or...
We haven't gotten into that yet. Okay. I don't want to teach them chubby.
Right.
Well,
that means something else too, but...
We just don't, you just don't do that. But I use the word because in my head, I still am. And so it's like I took it back. I saw Clerks 2. I took it back. So I took fat back. So as people used to call me fat, I can call myself fat. Nobody else can, but I can call myself fat, and I can call myself fat now. And I called myself fat then when I was, because, I mean, good Lord, my shadow needed its own zip code, but still.
Wow.
Chris
Rock jokes? What?
I think That was Henny Youngman jokes.
Henny Youngman, and then what's what Chris Rock grew up on, him and Seinfeld. But when he, not to cut you off, but he said something about the animated voices, like all these people can play. You can play anything you want.
Oh,
and
I
then
know,
a black man
great.
can only play a donkey or a zebra. That's what Chris Rock said. I didn't say it. Unanimated.
That was funny, but in the movies of late, yeah.
And he's funny too. He's true. It's like people are talking about like how hard that they walk into a voiceover thing and they do a cartoon. They get paid $1 million for just like in the pajamas. But of course, they don't get paid $1 million. He's getting paid $1 million because he's built himself up to be Chris Rock. Yeah. That's why he's getting the money, not because.
Oh, to have a sweet voiceover gig. Oh, yeah.
Wow, that sounds like you've had a few.
How I would love another voiceover gig.
Jane Ellen is available for parties, phone sex opera. No, I'm just kidding.
My friend Buzz is the voice in between on Disney Junior. He's the one that's saying Phineas and Ferb up next, and he does all the Disney stuff. And it's like, oh, yeah. And he doesn't live in California. He lives in Tennessee, and he does it all on his iPad. It's like, Buzz, I'm so jealous. Do they not need a girl?
No, it's funny. I don't remember last time I watched Disney. I feel behind on Disney. I remember the Kids Incorporated probably was the last time I watched.
Well, Phineas and Ferb totally rocks.
Yeah.
You would enjoy it.
It's the other. What's the one for kids that has like celebrity cameos that they always love now? They talk about. They sing and dance, and they. No.
That would be Phineas and Ferb.
No, not that show. There's a show that like
they sing and dance.
No, but there's another show with celebrities are always on it, and what's it called? I don't know. I have no idea. I bet if I write kids show.
I have no idea.
I'm using Google right now. Not big. Why is that?
Thank you, Google.
Thanks, but I'm not finding it. Kids show.
We're pretty exclusive to Johnny Test and Phineas and Ferb.
Okay. And then SpongeBob is
and
big.
SpongeBob, yeah.
But what? It's got a weird name. I think it's Nickelodeon, I want to say.
Well, this is riveting.
Maybe. Huh?
Me looking at you, typing.
Yeah, very riveting here.
That would make me want
to.
Yeah.
Slit your wrist. So we'll be back hopefully next Monday, or their babies being born in March. Hopefully my schedule won't get too messed up. Like I said, Paul Rassan will be Thursday on Hangout Conversations. Friday, we hope to have Nathan Swoops and Scarletta. There was actually a guy. Wasn't there a guy named David Scarletta? But he's not related to the band, right? Wasn't there an American Idol?
I don't know who David Scarletta is.
Oh,
I just know Nathan Stoops. I remember when we met on the set of the Hillbilly Bone video, and he said Nathan Stoops, and I said, as in to conquer? And he said, why, yes.
Wow. There it is, Yo Gabba Gabba. Thank you, Rowan.
I hate Yo Gabba Gabba.
Okay, I was.
Oh yeah, Jack Black's been on it. Oh jeez, Yo Gabba Gabba. Yes.
Why do people love that show? Jack Black, Jonah Hill, Jack White.
It's just so irritating.
What is so great about it?
There's nothing great about it. My youngest will watch it, but it gets on my every last nerve. It's these people in suits, and they have irritating voices, and then they move around, and then
sounds like every other show.
It's just I hate it. It's not funny and clever and have inside jokes.
It's not funny. Actually, there was we'll wrap up on this. Billy Crystal, at some point, there was a famous, you like Howard Stern, and we have Billy Crystal, and there's a famous thing with Billy Crystal and Howard Stern where Stuttering John had been sent to the red carpet, and he went up to Billy Crystal and started asking questions. You know about this? And Billy Crystal kept saying, it's not funny, it's not fun, it's not funny. He kept saying that, and they were using it, and he's like, I know you and Howard can go back and have a nice laugh, because they asked him about like why he cheated on his wife, but that I had put it up and inflated, and my brother is funny too, because he'll be like, he's critical as hell, and he was like, I was like, whoa, that was kind of funny. He's like, not really, it's kind of old. He's like, he goes, it's not fun, it's not funny. Like that's like the Oscar ceremony. So that is it.
It is kind of funny. Well, thank you, everyone, for spending time with us.
Thank you. Hope you enjoyed it. Motivus Jones, Anthony Feliciano. Thank you, Brawin. Who else? Maddie James for sharing. Stacey Farris.
Thank you, Maddie.
Reed was checking us out. Brawin McGuckin is how you say her last name. Hopefully your dates are going well. I met her in real life, as well as Anthony. They're cool people here at the New York Curl. And also thank you to, let's see who plus the crap out of us, Brooke Brown, Sam LOL, because that's a real name. Hey, Brooke. Yeah. So that was as I speak, that's a successful first PLUStainment show.
Wonderful.
Matt Rappaport, Jane Ellen.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Jane. And I'm going to go breathe. I don't think I was breathing that much. I was like...
It's like Wayne's World.
I have to keep going. It's like there's a button. It like did it, and then there were times I was quiet, but I'm.
All right. Well, then we're gonna finish this up now.
We're going away. See you later. See you next week.
All right.
PLUStainment Show.